Hello everyone, this is your podcast from English 1301, made up of Danna Beltran, Kasey Holguin, Diego Muñoz, Francisco Grajeda, and me, Rolando Dominguez. In today's episode, we will talk about two stories of two women who rose to the occasion in the face of adversity, leaving their lives behind. They had to immigrate to a different country and live through hell to survive. They are living proof of resilience, courage, and inspiration. Our thesis statement: both the story of two survivors and street vendors, despite the immigrant experience through concepts of perseverance, social equality, and the evaluation of underrepresented voices, while the first in focus as one highlight their journey of healing from trauma and displacement, and the other stresses economic challenge and the quest for opportunity. Our first story, the street vendor's harvest of dreams. In a neighborhood near mainstream Glendale, Los Angeles, many determined entrepreneurs work as street vendors, often in ragged attitude. Victoria Perez, a woman known for her bright light skirt vest and matching bucket filled with Salvadorian sweetbread, marquesotes, $1 each or 3 for 2, started her business in 2006 after her daughter's death left her, a middle-aged undocumented immigrant, and her infant grandson with debts and no income. Unable to find employment, she used to her last saving for her bucket bread business, which is now considered a booming success. She is well known in the community for her bread. The text notes that Victoria's stories is common among street vendors who, according to the streetvendors.org, are strongly small business owners, mostly immigrants and people of color working long hours in harsh conditions for a chance to sell. However, in Los Angeles, they had a bad reputation and faced harassment, racism, and discrimination despite the city's diverse and sanctuary status. Victoria refutes the idea that street vendors are not viable, stating that they are law-abiding, working, politically aware, and contributing to society. She points out that their job creators and generate revenue through licenses, permits, fees, and taxes. WEEGO affirms that street vendors are integral to urban economies globally, add vibrancy to the city life, and often contribute cornerstone. Victoria believes they help globalize ethnics, foods, and customs, highlights the diverse from food scene in America made possible by immigration. Despite this, street vendors face mistreatment from shop owners who see them as a competition, and police often don't intervene. Victoria recounts instances of being kicked off sidewalks and having her merchandise destroyed. Now for her wit and activism, she defends vendors' rights and supports various social justice movements, seeing large crowds as good for business. Victoria's background reveals she fled in El Salvador after her high-ranking general husband was murdered in a civil war, a dangerous journey during which her infant son died. Arriving in California 20 months of struggle, she faces stark contrast to her previous upper-class life in El Salvador. While she sometimes wonders about her life back home, she values the safety and she and her daughter found in America. Finally, Victoria challenged the stereotype of immigrants as failures, stating they often leave behind much to do dire circumstances and come to America with specific goals. She shares samples of other vendors working hard out of necessity, emphasizing their resilience and fighting spirit despite personal tragedies. Our second story is the story of two survivors. This is the harrowing story of Doa, a 19-year-old Syrian refugee in Egypt who, with her loved Bassem, risked a dangerous Mediterranean crossing to seek asylum in Europe. They smuggled 2,500 each and were crammed onto his old fishing boat with 100 others, including 100 children. After 4 days at sea, a smaller boat rammed theirs, causing it to sink. Hundreds drowned. Doa, who couldn't swim, miraculously survived by using a child's life ring, with Basen holding her. They encountered a man who gave them his baby, Malek. Basen later drowned, telling Doa he loved her. A mother then gave Doa her 18-month-old daughter, Masa, before drowning herself. Doa, terrified of water and unable to swim, was left caring for two babies. Malek died on the rescue boat, but Masa survived after 4 days in the water. Only 11 of the 500 survived. There was no international investigation into the mass murder at sea. Masa, the miraculous baby, was reported on the Greek press, leading to abduction offers. Doa, also rescued, was often taken by an Egyptian family. Through Facebook, Masa uncles in Sweden, who had also made it with her older sister, contact Doa. Masa is now in an Athenian orphanage awaiting reunification. Doa, recognized for her bravery by the Academy of Athens, still wants to go to Sweden to reunite with her family and become a lawyer or politician to fight injustice. The story highlights the desperate risk refugees take due to war and the overwhelming conditions in neighboring countries, and the world's insufficient support. Both of these stories offer powerful glimpses into the lives of marginalized individuals, social equality, and navigating challenging circumstances, yet they focus on vastly different contexts and experiences. Comparing the two stories in underlying critique of societal structures, both narratives implicitly critiques existing of social structures. Victoria's story points to the prejudices and lack of opportunity faced by the immigrants in Los Angeles. Those accounts criticize the inadequate international response to the Syrian refugees crisis and the lack of safe pathways for those fleeing conflicts. Humanizing statistics, both stories use individual stories to humanize larger social issues instead of just stating facts about poverty and refugees crisis. They present the personal experience of Victoria and Doa, making the struggles more relatable and emotionally impactful. Focus on resilience and determination, both narratives highlight the remarkable resilience and unwavering determination of the central figures. Victoria Perez and Doa, despite facing immense hardship, both women exhibit a strong will to survive and, in their own ways, strive for a better future. Victoria builds a successful business against the odds of poverty, immigration status, and social prejudice. Doa endures imaginable loss and physical ordeal while trying to reach safety and new life. About giving their context of struggle, the primary contrast lies in the context of their struggles. Victoria's battle is against economic hardship, social prejudice, and the limitation imposed by her immigration status within an urban environment. Though struggle is one of survival against war, displacement, the dangers of human trafficking, and the brutal forces of nature. Other contrast is goals and aspirations. While both seek a better future, their immediate goals differ. Victoria focuses on building a successful livelihood and gaining respect with her community. Doa's immediate goal is survival and reaching safety in Europe, with aspiration for a future where she can advocate against injustice. Other contrast with reach is narrative tone and purpose. While both are empathic, the tone differs. Victoria narratives has elements of entrepreneurial spirit and community engagement, even amidst the challenge. Though a story is a stark and emotional account of desperate flight for survival intended to evoke empathy for the plight of refugees. From now on, I will give the microphone to my colleagues. Thank you.
Okay, so both Street Vendors, Harvest a Dream, and the story of two survivors highlight the issues that people face living in poverty. However, they approach these economic struggles from different perspectives. The lady from the story Street Vendors explains how she came from a well off family, and when she came to the US, she had absolutely nothing economically wise. Her husband was a high ranking military officer, which meant that she had a good economic status and did not have to worry if she was going to be able to have food on her table for dinner. Then her husband was tragically killed, and she was targeted next. So she decided to run away so she could keep herself along with her kids safe and alive. When she came to the US, she had nothing. She did not even have a way to provide food for herself or her child. Economic immigrants understanding their role and impact states that people who migrate mainly for economic reasons are known as economic migrants. They are looking for better living conditions, more employment prospects, and a higher standard of living. These migrants are not eligible for refugee status and are not entitled to the same legal protection as refugees, who are protected by international law after fleeing persecution, or conflict. Doa, just like that lady from Street Vendors, had a good economic status back in her home country. Although not much about her future in Europe is disclosed, we can guess that she struggled to pay for her hospital bills and to live in this new country. Thank you.
I will talk about the traumas immigrants have. Imagine moving to another place, which is always a very difficult thing. Now imagine being forced to move a place where they speak a different language, have different traditions, religion, etc. Is one of the most difficult things to do, leaving your family and friends behind. There are many reasons for leaving a place, but in these two stories, they are looking for the same common for something in common. Both are looking for a better life and opportunities. They have different backgrounds and stories, but like everyone, they want the best for themselves. Of course, they suffer in their journey to get what they want, and even if there is nothing that assures that they are going to make it, they take the risk, feeling displaced and generating trauma for them, and it as in one of the stories that the girl who survives has to take several decisions, very difficult ones, like to save kids while she's trying to survive at the sea floating waiting for help. She she took two kids and tried to help them. Unfortunately, only one survived. But as I was saying, they pass through very difficult things that make them suffer and generate trauma for them. But luckily, both main characters in our stories have success leaving their countries and making their own way to a better place.
In the Street Vendors, Harvest of Dream by Ana Pacheco, discrimination plays a central role in the shaping the experience of Victoria Perez and other street vendors in Los Angeles. Despite their hard work, resilience, and contributions to the local economy and cultural vibrancy, these vendors, many of whom are immigrants and people of color, face systemic and social prejudice. Victoria, an underdocumented immigrant from El Salvador, encounters discrimination based on her immigration status, ethnicity, gender, and occupation. She and her colleagues are often harassed by business owners who accuse them of stealing customers and driving away clientele. This hostility is accompanied by the lack of police intervention, allowing verbal and even physical abuse to go unchecked.
Many immigrants are willing to take a life or death risk just for them to get a better opportunities than they will back at home. In the story of sweet vendors, the lady want to seek refuge for her children and herself, just like Doa. Her fiance and her were seeking for a better future and for safety from the war back in their home country. And that's all for us. Thank you.